Hello, 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 family, friends, and foes. Foes, friends, and family. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to Major Greatness. Let me give myself a clap. It's been a long, long, long week. I tell you that. It's been a long week. A long week. Family, friends, and foes. Foes, friends, and family. Since I was supposed to come in here and do it on Sunday. I just felt like sitting down. I didn't feel like doing too much, and sitting down is always important. But to me, I had to really sit down because it's hot. These lights. This is real podcasting right here, y'all. So I'm getting hot already. Anyway, so I sat down on Sunday. That was supposed to have been I was supposed to be doing podcasting twice a week. I did it once last week, so 2 times a week. I'm supposed to be doing it on Tuesdays and Sundays so I can have more footage to put out, right? And I just wanted to sit down. I did some work for this guy, his PI, and after I finished doing a little bit of work I did for him, I went out. It was raining on Sunday. You did say it was raining. Yeah, it was. I forgot. See, my mind be somewhere else. So I just did a little bit of work, came home, and was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the supermarket. Went to Publix. Bought me all my things, my necessary things that I need to make my meal. Y'all know I'm eating from the ground now. I'm not doing no more. Y'all can have the land and water animals. I watched a movie, a documentary this weekend. I've been thrown off from from certain things eating lately, and this really threw me off. It was called Sea something about the sea, and I seen stuff about the sea, and we fucking up. We messing it up. But I'll go into that another thing. So I went to the supermarket, got my stuff that I wanted to use to eat. To cook rather. So I got me some stuff that I already had, like the lentils, red and green lentils. I have my quinoa, things like that. I keep my organic brown rice. I keep, stacks of that. I just went and got some more green peppers, some hot peppers. I had those already as well. What else? I went to go get my fruits and all that, my yellow watermelon, my fruits, berries, and all of that stuff. The things that I eat, I got some cherries this time. Every week I pick up a new fruit. Well, not a new fruit, something that I don't normally eat every week. So I get my berries, my raspberries, my blueberries, my blackberries. So I added the cherries to it this week. And I did that, some mineral water. Because I tell you, I'm not trying to drink out of plastic bottles. And I've been really doing real good. Like just now, I felt like I killed myself again. I had to drink some water because I didn't stop by the store and get me a glass bottle of water. And I drank my coconut water early today, raw coconut water. I just be trying to be on my 50-ish shit, you can't. This is all I got is this body inside of me, after being broken down from, a kid and, from birth all the way up to now. I got to keep my mind intact. Remember I told you I'm headstrong. Like, you can't break me. I might get broken a little bit, but you can't break me because all up that's in here, it's just so much. But in the same token, I got to take care of yourself. You got to give yourself the things that you need to live. You got to be fair to yourself. You can't be living a lie, And to be transparent, again, that water I just drank, I felt like all the hard work I put into my body, I felt like I just killed myself. But, I'm going to make a comeback. And, I added some planks to my daily routine. So this is all embedded into the same thing. I added some planks. I'm doing planks. I'm learning how to breathe and doing my planks. And I'm not doing a lot. I'm not standing down for more than 10 minutes. I bet you can't do all of that. I'm building myself up, right now. So I don't know if it's you or me, but I know me, I do my exercise in the shower. And that's because I'm a bad sweater and I just don't like sweating. So I do my exercise in the shower, and I only do the 1, 2, 3. So I do my leg lifts in the shower. I do those 50 every shower, and I take 2 showers a day. So that's 100 leg lifts I do a day. And, you know, because I sit all day, and that's not really healthy, but if your mind is intact, it's okay. You're making your money, it's all right. For me, it's okay. So I want to go back into birth. This is part 3. We did part 1, part 2, and part 3. Here we go. So I just wanted to, I think we went over the last time I talked. We talked about Arthur Lee being my father. You know, he's dead. He died when I was 14. Eula's my grandmother, and the feeling that she gave me, the warm and fuzzy feeling that she gave me when I first met her. Excuse me. Excuse me. I felt like Johnetta, I didn't get that warm and fuzzy feeling with Johnetta, my mother. You know, and that being said, I told you about the therapy. This is my first time going to therapy, and all my childhood traumas came out from my car accident. And we talked about, you know, teenage life, you know, me being in the house with people, you know, not even people, it was pretty much me sitting in the house with all of those drugs, you know, just making money, trying to find my way in life, you know. I was a thief. I used to steal. It's just something that I did, and I was trying to be accepted in society, because not only was I just did it because I'm doing it, oh, I'm gonna just do it. No, it was a reason. It's a reason for everything. A reason for everything somebody does. It's not, oh, today I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna go steal. No. But in all actuality, it was that we was going out to steal for money. I was stealing for money. People were stealing to look nice. That's just not. I was, you know, I did want to look nice too. I did look nice growing up. I wasn't a bum. Nobody can never say Gail was a bum. And thank God. Let me give myself a clap for that. Yes, I wasn't a bum. We did share clothes back in the days. That's when I was like in my late teenage years or whatever. But when I was in my early years, we had clean clothes. That was one thing I told y'all. Marion didn't play around with. She was a clean fanatic. She didn't care about filth. But, you know, remember I told you, she used to piss on herself, though. She was a pissy drunk. She did pee on herself. She would pee on the furniture from time to time, but she always sat in that one chair. You know that one chair? And yeah, pissy Marion. Yeah, I said it. You're dead and gone. But, you know, and it ain't even saying God forgive me. Oh, well. These are the things I wish I could have said to her when she was alive. Or even I wanted to scratch her eyes out. Sure did. That's right, friends, family, and foes. Foes, friends, and family. Call it what you want. So I did talk about that. I talked about making money in the street, my cousins, and how me and Ronnie was the black sheep of the family. Yes, we were. We were the ones that got all the beatings. And I'd sit back and reflect on that. Like, I can't recall. My cousins might be able to say, yeah, we got smacked, but they ain't get beat. We got beat. We got extension cords, hands on fires, hit with pipes, those type of things. They never got that type of brutal beatings. That was what we endured growing up. And yeah, the soap in the mouth. I went home and I thought about that. Like, how cruel are you just to put some soap in somebody's mouth? And it didn't even help me clean out my mouth. It was just it's a tactic that they use just to make you feel lesser than you already are as a kid. Now remember, I told you I'm like 5, 6, and you're rubbing soap on my mouth. Yeah, those were the days. If I can bring that bitch back, I would. Friends, family, foes, do not come for me, because that is how I feel. For real. Sometimes I wish I could come back for her. I can tell you, when she was in her last days, she was in a hospital uptown, one of the good hospitals. She was in Uptown in her last days in like nursing home type thing. I forgot what is it called. It was like she was a farewell hospital, one of those hospitals they put you in. And I went to go visit her. This is the only time I went to go visit Marion, right? And I had to been right after I had Deasia, my daughter. Well, I could have been pregnant. It was right around that time. I think I was pregnant when I went. And the nurse went and put her down for the day or whatever, and the CNA or whatever they were, and she just looked so innocent. Like her skin was so like soft and like it was wrinkled, and it just looked like the trees, like the tree, you know, it just looked like a tree, like the veins of the tree, and she was going backwards in life. Like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but that's how she looked. Like, she was aging gracefully, and she would smile like a smile, and she tried talking, and she would call me out my sister that she wasn't really my sister. Back in the days of sister and all that. And I had a problem with that. That's another topic. Anyway, she used to call me Joyce. And Joyce was one of her husband's kid that turned out to be shit too. I'll talk about her too. Anyway, Joyce, she used to call me Joyce. And at this moment, when I went to go visit her in the hospital, she had this, like, she was at peace. And in my mind, when the nurse was putting her down and all that, she was smiling. I took that a form as it was a disrespect, not knowing this is how people, you know, going into back into that life, you know? And I took that as she was being disrespectful to me. She was smiling and laughing in my face. Because that's what the streets taught me. The streets taught me that, you know? Somebody smiling in your face and, you know, they did you dirt. You know, that's just you coming around me just to show that fuck you, disrespectful you. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck you, I don't care about you. Kick dirt on your name type thing. So all these things I was internalizing in my head about this lady right then and there, you know? And it started with, I wanted to put a pillow over her face. Friends, family, and foes. Foes, friends, and family don't come for me. That's just how I felt. All the beatings I've taken in my lifetime from this lady, she's the only one really I took a beating from. I got some other stories too on some domestic stuff, but she's the only person that made me the beast that I am today. Anybody know, they know Gail is a fighter. I wasn't a fighter in my early years, like my 13, 14, 15, like years old. And I was like still shy and timid, but the beast was in me, ready to come out like at any minute. But I was fighting people, you know, and things like that. But this pillow, let me go back to this pillow at this nursing home. I really wanted to put this pillow over her face and just erase her. It just, and it ate at me the whole time when I was there and when I left. I'm like, I should have did it. Why I didn't do it? I would have got off. Why would they put me in jail for killing her? Because she tried to kill my soul. She didn't kill my soul. I'm here to talk about it. Y'all know it. But, you know, in times throughout life, I felt her, Jonetta, Raynard, and I didn't even get that feeling towards what's my father's name? I still be forgetting. His name is Arthur Lee. I didn't get that feeling towards him because I always thought Raynard was my father. So I felt all those feelings throughout my lifetime, and it was those three people that gave me that negative energy, that negative feeling. Like I didn't have like a happy feeling. You know, all my life, I want to tell y'all this too. All my life, I didn't smile up until, man, I didn't smile, and I had this one line that went down the middle of my forehead for all my life as a kid, all the way up until maybe, I had to been like, honestly, like in my 30s, like early 30s, when I really started like smiling and letting loose and felt a little bit better about life and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't smile at all. Give a clap up for me smiling. 'Cause I got that smile. Yes, nobody can break it. Yes, yes, yes. Clap it up for me. Clap it up for me. For real, for real. But on that token, so Marion, I didn't put the pillow over her face. She died of natural causes. That was my only time seeing her when she went in the hospital. And I never went to her burial. My brother Brian sent me pictures of her and all her sisters and stuff like that in a obituary. I do have that. I keep things like that as a memorabilia or whatever the case may be, but I never went to her. And that's the same feeling I have for J.A. Even though she came in and she assisted with my childhood, you know, as a teenager, adult, you know, a young mom at 19, I still felt like that when she was going out the door. Like, do I really feel like I want to help her on her way out? Or, but I was there from the beginning to the end, and it's just what it was. That's where I was at. I helped out my sisters and brothers, and we made it do what it do. She was buried, and Forrest, but with one thing she doesn't have to this day, she doesn't have a headstone. Here I go again. When she first was buried, I put this stone there. It was a cement stone, something I got from Remember Things. Remember that store, Remember Things? I bought it from upstate New York. That's when I was living up there. I bought this stone that I know would never perish, and from Remember Things. And I said, well, listen, this will be a way that we can, you know, identify her gravesite when we come back. And, you know, life started lifing, and I had the money a lot of times to go back and put a gravestone, you know, a plot on her joint or whatever the case may be. But I felt like I did enough. I did enough. And she had other kids. They can go back and do that. The ones that didn't do for her when she died, they still didn't do nothing for her to this day. And we wind up, my siblings, my younger sibling's father was buried in that same burial space. He got a plot. Ain't that something? He got a plot. They paid for a plot for him, but they didn't pay for a plot for their own mother. And their mother was the one that, you know, raised them up until the age that they were. But that's another story. You know, if I become rich, I might just, you know, being that I'm past that already, you know, I'm not still on that, I'll probably go back and do it, you know, when I get a couple of dollars. You know, a couple of dollars come and go in my life. You know, it is what it is. But that being said, so she's in, if anybody want to cash at me, my cash app is Major Great, and that's the $ MAJER, Great, GREAT. That's my cash app. And I don't really mess with cash app, but if y'all want to send a cash app, I'll take it. What else we had on the agenda from birth and death? We talked about that. She died. Ooh. Life went on life and everybody went back. Yeah, those were the days. But you know what I did tell my family at her burial? Not at her burial, but before then, I did tell everybody, you know, from this point on, we need to make sure that we all got life insurance policies, because guess who ain't burying nobody? Me. I'm not coming out my pocket no more. I told everybody they need to make sure they got insurance. And I already had insurance when I was talking my shit back then. It's just something I always had. And that was one thing that Marion always taught us, to have insurance. And you know what I'm thinking? Maybe, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not going to throw it out there. Anyway, Marion always taught us to have insurance. She always had policies out on us. And I just can't remember the name of the insurance company that she had policies out on us when we was little. She probably was trying to kill us for some money, but it just never happened. It just didn't, life was not life in that way. She was crazy, but I don't think she was that crazy. And yeah, she taught us about life insurance policies and stuff like that, because she used to pay this man. He used to come to the house every month. Mr. Johnson, I'll never forget it. He used to come to the house and he used to come pick up the money for the insurance policy. He used to write it on this little card, something similar to this, and write it on there and give it to her that she made her monthly policy payment. And I guess that's how she went out. She went out that way with money. And I always learned, I knew that from a child. So that was something that stuck with me. Certain things stuck with me, Marion. Stay clean, be clean. And insurance policy. And I do have an insurance policy. I have a couple of them. And I made sure my kids have one and all of that. And I just made sure my siblings knew that, make sure that they get policies. And that's something I preach all the time on Facebook. You know, don't go fund me. You'll never hear me, nobody say, go for me. If somebody tell you, go for me, I'm telling you now, that's a goddamn lie. Because I'm leaving who I want to leave money, and who getting is who getting it. Who ain't getting it, ain't getting it. And it's written in a trust, in my will. I got a will and I got a trust, and it's already written. The trust is being finalized. It's still some more steps to that, but trust me, it's going to be finished. It's going to be finished. And that being said, you ain't getting if you ain't get with me. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm giving some people that I know that need, and I want them to have, so they can get a step up in life, because they didn't have a step up in life. And that's how I'm doing. If you didn't want to do good in life, oh well, that's on you. I don't care who you are, blood or not blood. It's just not happening. Just remember, on this podcast, I'm saying that. So I did tell everybody, make sure they get a insurance policy. I even, for my brother, he wasn't even having no money. He didn't have no money back then. My brother, the black sheep, me and black sheep, remember I told you that. And I started a insurance policy for him from down here, and I was paying it for the first 6 months, and then I transferred it over to him. I did it for him and my father at the time. I thought that, he was my father, but I was still doing it for him for 6 months. And when I passed it over to the both of them. They own policies. Like, listen, y'all gonna have to start. I called the man. He gave all the information and all that. Both of those Negroes, they didn't even go fully through with it. They was like, the guy called me back like maybe a couple of months later and was like, no, I called him to find out about Raynard, because up until now, Raynard had went into one of those homes. It's the last stage life, and I wanted to make sure that he had his insurance policy, if he was paying on it, if it was coming out of his bank account. And it wasn't even a lot of money. One was like, because they were smokers, they smoked cigarettes. So you got to get the smoking cigarette rate. So it was like $43 for my brother. And I think Raynard was like $60-something, $68 or something like that, right? And that's because I think Raynard was on medication. Now, insurance people, they don't, if you want any type of medication prior to getting insurance, you're going to get a high rate. But this type of policy that I was getting for them was just a burial policy, where if you die, they go get your body, they put you in the burial, and that's it. It's not no funeral, you don't get no service or none of that. No, it's not. It's just that you get like a cremation type thing. And it's a type of policy that it works, But they didn't go through it. They didn't give a fuck about them lives. But I want to leave my people some stuff. I don't want to leave them without having nothing in life, I got that type of policy that you can borrow against. Yeah, if you need some money, you can borrow against it, and you still got to pay like an interest on it and all that. It's like a 401k type joint, but it's still a good policy to have. I think everybody should have a policy. And like, again, I'm always preaching policy on Facebook. Like, don't leave your loved ones behind. Have your shit already, your priorities together. Like, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You out here, put that money, don't leave your kids like that. You know what I'm saying? They're already in poverty. Anybody I know, you in poverty. Some people are living above their means. I'm not. I just can't afford to live above my means. I don't care about Gucci, Louis, and all that stuff. I did it one time, but it's just not my thing. Like, give me some cotton. I sweat too much. Give me all my bags and stuff that I have. I'm really ready to sell them and make some money off of it, but it's not, the same bag I'll rock over and over and over and over again. Cremate me, let my loved ones get the money, pretty much. But anyway, so that's pretty much that. So she didn't have a policy. She was buried, though. We came up with the money. I told you I'm my friends and all of that. I had some friends, and my lover, he was able to help me at the time. Bury my mother. Yeah, so I wanted to touch bases on, that's the cap of part 3. I went over the anxiety part once we had her buried, well, before she was buried. Yeah, I think I want to go into detail about some stuff, but that was the part about growing up, from birth, part 1, 2, and 3, and what else? It was something else I wanted to mention. My brothers still live in an apartment that my caretaker / abuser, and that's the apartment that he keeps. And from time to time, we go over there and we stay at that apartment for free. That's my brother. I love him to death. My brother, my mother's first child, our eldest child. My mother's second eldest child is Reynard, and he's the brother that me and him were the black sheep of the family. And then it was me, and then it was my sister Tamiko, Terry, and then April. So those were her 6 kids. And those 3 had a different father, and he had 2, actually, 2 other kids, but one is just a long story. Anyway, that died, Kasim, God bless his soul, good brother, I loved him. So that's us in a nutshell. In time, I would like to have my siblings on here, as time go on, if they, willing to come on or whatever the case may be. I'm going to tell my truth, and that's just what it is, I was born, I was abused physically by Marion. Johnetta, did Johnetta ever hit me? I think she did slap me one time. Oh, this when she slapped me. When I was working summer youth one time, let me go back a little bit. My money, I had like a little safe box. Remember I told you I went back over there and I was living like I didn't give a shit. I had to been like 14. I told you I always kept a job. I don't care what I did. I always kept a job, a 9 to 5. I had a job. I was working summer youth up until I was 21, but I also had another job in the evening time, like at the supermarket. And I had a little lockbox and I would save my money in there. One day I came home and my money was gone. My cousin Tiana told me Auntie took it. And I approached her. She slapped the fuck out of me. I said, oh no, I'm not coming over here to be beaten or whatever. And I think that's when I reverted back and went back to Marion. But at this time, Marion, she was still on her bullshit, but she was still trying to beat us and all that. And then I just came back to Johnette. I was going back and forth. And then that's when my mother's eldest was like, oh, you're going to have to pick a side where you're going to be at. You can't be over here and over there. But, he still was angry that, she abandoned him. And I was still mad too, but I just didn't want to get beatings. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're getting beat, that's not a good feeling to be getting beat. I could see marks on my hand right here on this index finger where I had blisters so bad on my hand, they never went away. The marks is still here. I have scars right here on my head where I got hit with a fucking little Louisville baseball bat. Yeah. I got another one on this side. I got from her sister, Marion. Not only Marion was a fucking abuser and slave mentality, her sister, Betty Nixon, yes, that bitch, she hit me with a bat before, a big bat. She hit me one day. I was bringing the bike upstairs, up the steps, because the elevator was out in her building. I'll never forget it. Bringing the elevator up the steps. And this bitch, the bike falls on me. So the bike fell on me. She beat me because I'm bleeding. What type of shit is that? I hurt myself. because I slipped or fell somehow, whatever. My steps didn't go to it. The bike fell on me and I hurt myself. I'm bleeding. She beat me with a bat. She sure did. Marion used to put my head between, Betty Nixon too, put my head between her legs, hold my head, and whip me with extension cords. And they used to have laugh party. Hit it a little harder, hit it a little harder. Yeah, extension cord. I used to have extension cord marks all on my back. It didn't break my skin, but as time went on, when I was getting older, I used to see like little marks on my back. Yeah, from extension cords, switches, all types of shit. Yeah, hands on fire. And she would hold me from the wrist. I'm a little girl now, put my hand on the fire to make my hands there and put it on the flesh, burn your flesh. Yeah, like this, hold my hand, a little girl holding me, slapping me and beating me, put my hand on the fire. Shit was real growing up. I never in my life did my kids like that. Don't get me wrong. I slapped my son up a couple of times because I seen him going down the footsteps of his dad and I had to fucking prevent that. Yeah, I wasn't playing, but beatings was regular in my household growing up, like every day. Every day. Like we got beaten if she didn't have enough money for alcohol, it was a beating. If she drunk up all her alcohol, was a beating. If her husbands didn't have money, they would give her all the money when they came in the house. It was a beating. Like, it was a beating, like, if we looked at her wrong, if we didn't eat all our food, if we just got beatings. Beatings, like, for no reason. Like, those beatings were serious. I told y'all, people were like, oh, something that happened. No, that shit was real. But I never beat my kids like that. I slapped my daughter one time lighting a candle in the house. I think she had to be like 7, 8 years old. I slapped her. I went out to the store to go get some stuff, left in the house. She lit a candle. I slapped her. Who the fuck told you to light this candle while we was going? This whole building could have went up in flames and it would have been your fucking fault. But, she was a kid, you know, but that was it. I think that was the only time I ever fucking tried her. And my son, when I seen him going, he got slapped a couple of times, but wasn't no beatings, and I ain't pick up no pipes, I ain't put their hands on no fire, none of that shit. Like, I knew I did not want to repeat what was done to me as a fucking kid to my kids. You know, they say you can hit your kid, but you can't abuse your kid. And when they took that out, that's when kids started making charges. I wish I would have followed through with them charges on Marion. Like, I wish I did, because she would have been in jail. I forgot what was that little kid name that died, that the father and the mother, they killed her. It's going to come to me. But just the soap in the mouth and a cousin of my uncle, he's not really my uncle. He's actually her nephew. That's Marion's nephew. His name is Cousin Bunny. We called him Cousin Bunny growing up. Uncle Bunny. We called him Uncle Bunny, but he wasn't really my uncle. That was her nephew that was her sister Betty's son. Marion put a hard-boiled egg, made that nigga put a hot-boiled egg in his fucking mouth. He told me that about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, right during COVID, he told me that. He said, yeah, Marion was certified. Yeah, I know she was certified. She was certified. I thought, like, that was all mental health. Like, looking back in hindsight to, like, now from then, that's all signs of mental health. She was going through mental health situations in her lifetime, you know? She just she didn't have nobody to talk to, a therapist. So her therapist was alcohol. Yeah. And just like Johnetta, her therapist was dope. Whoever introduced, I never got those answers answered from her. I never even asked her, who introduced you to the drug game? It could have been my father, Arthur Lee Goodwin. He could have been the one that introduced her to the needle. It could have been Terry, my siblings' father. I just don't know who introduced her to dope, and that was their therapy, to take them away from everyday life. I didn't have that. Like I told you, we did me and my friends, we did like tabs. We call them True Allah Bonds. I don't know, that's that Muslim shit. You know what I'm saying? 5% of shit. But anyway, we did that, and I told you I smoked, but smoke used to make me paranoid. So I really wasn't a smoker. Let me be if I'm being transparent now. When we used to smoke back in the days, I maybe used to take 1 or 2 pulls. That's it. Them bitches never wanted, I used to smoke, but they didn't know I wasn't really smoking. I would take 1 or 2 pulls, but I used to be stuck in a couch. I couldn't, weed wasn't my thing. To this day, I'll take a puff and be in La La Land. I just want to go watch television or go do some shit in the television, but I'm not into drugs. Because I always thought drugs was going to be my downfall. I was going to follow in my mother's footsteps. And I knew alcohol made you angry and made you beat people. So I never was an alcoholic neither. So I stayed away from that shit. Now, when I got in my little, teenage years and I started dibbling down, we used to get drinking and stuff like that. But we wasn't alcoholics. It was just recreation, every other weekend, once a month or twice. We all get together and we, as girlfriends, we go to her house, my house, whatever, and we go hang out. We drinking and smoking, laughing and joking. But that's pretty much it. But I always thought if I did drugs that I would lose everything because, obviously, I lost my mother, I lost my father, not because they died from the complications of drugs. My father, what I found out was that he had AIDS. He died of AIDS. AIDS, yep. My grandmother told me that, and everybody else told me that too. And on my father's side, I had sisters that were drug addicts as well, except one of them. And the one that's not a drug addict, she lives in Arizona. But all 3 of my other sisters, they were drug addicts. One died from complications of drugs. All the years of she was on dialysis and stuff like that. Again, I told you during COVID, I met all my family on my father's side. I went plane, train, automobile. I was there. I went to go see them. And my sister, she was a drug addict, and she got cleaned. And then when you stop doing drugs, drugs don't stop doing you. I always say that shit because drugs come back. It's sitting in your what they call that? Your what you call the system where your spine is at. It sits there. When it's ready to come out, it's come out. And it could give you mental health. It could make you crazy. It could do whatever. It could break you down or whatever. So my sister, she was messed up after she stopped trying to do drugs. She couldn't walk really no more. She just lost it all, and then she wound up dying. She died last year. Then I had another sister that died early on that was named Darcell. My name is Eyes-Dysell Swans. Her name was Darcell. So she was born right before me. So that's how I know my mom and my all of this it was meant for me to find out all of this stuff, And she was a drug addict. They said she died from AIDS and drug-related stuff as well. I don't know which drugs was her choice, but she was on drugs, and she also died from AIDS. So she had the virus. That's what I was told. And my other sister, she's not dead yet. She lives in New York, and she did drugs, but she's not on drugs no more. But the effects of drugs made her lose over the years. Anybody that calls you and says, hey, can you cash at me $10? That says, you've lost your way in life. If you got if I had to call somebody to say cash at me $10, I'm just not. I'm gonna go find $10. I'm gonna go find my way. If I gotta go stand on the corner and beg for money, I'm gonna go beg for money. I ain't gonna sell my pussy because I ain't had to sell it all these years. I ain't gonna sell it now. But I'll tell you this, I will go find my way and find a way to make money so I never have to ask somebody for $10, $5, and $2. It's just me. That's just me. But she lost a lot during her lifetime as well. So she is making up for it right now too, not being a drug addict, getting back on her feet and stuff like that. But you living in poverty, you don't want nothing, and that's why I never was a consistent doing drugs. I told you we did tabs. That was just fun, recreational, but I told y'all, going to get drugs, you're going to get arrested. Like, them hard drugs, your girl ain't got it in her. Like, I just don't know how high you can get, because that's what if you smoke weed all your life, like, what are you reaching for? Is it high? Because wasn't the definition of smoking weed to get high? But what high are you reaching for? But I'm gonna leave it at that, and thank you for coming today. Friends, family, and foes, friends, and family. I'm out.